don't really know that they have diabetes. And I'm going to give some statistics. And there are a lot of essential oils, there are lifestyle changes. Diabetes can actually be managed. And no one really dies from diabetes. It's the complication from not managing the diabetes, how it destroys the organs and organ systems when we don't manage it properly. So there are ways to manage it. I think I put this little diabetes does not have to control us. We can control it and still be able to live a very healthy lifestyle, an enjoyable lifestyle. Okay, so let me just share some statistics, if you will. I'm going to share some. I'm going to do share. All right. Let me know if you see my screen. You see it? Okay. I just want to show some statistics, and this is this is from 2023. Some stats for Black Americans, and actually, it's not just Black Americans. This is some of the categorization. In 2023, non-Hispanic, Black, or African American adults were 1.4 times more likely than non-Hispanic white adults to be diagnosed with diabetes. In 2021, non-Hispanic, Black, or Africans were 40% more likely than non-Hispanic whites to die from diabetes. And I want to say the complications of diabetes. In 2022, non-Hispanic, Black, or African American adults were admitted to the hospital for uncontrolled diabetes at nearly 4 times the rate of non-Hispanic adults. When it's non-controlled, that is very much like, when it's not controlled at all, that is, I would say any of these criteria, that means it's uncontrolled. And that means that my lifestyle, I'm not conforming to a lifestyle to manage my diabetes. 2020, it indicated that Black or African Americans were more than 3 times as likely to be diagnosed with end-stage renal disease due to diabetes than non-Hispanic whites. Renal disease is a complication of diabetes, among many other things. Here's some categories. Diagnosed case of diabetes, 12 for non-Hispanic Blacks, 12.9%, non-Hispanic whites, 8.9, non-Hispanic Black, or Hispanic ratio was 1.4. So we see it. I think the other thing here, I thought it was very interesting during that time frame of 2021, where we had men, women, non-Hispanic Black, non-Hispanic white. And we see here that this category is a lot more, is a lot higher. And that has to do with not managing our diabetes. Any questions, Denise?
No, it's just pretty high, dramatic
It's yeah.
information.
Yeah. And it's growing. And the reason we're looking at diabetes, because diabetes is considered a metabolic syndrome disease, or it leads to that. And I'll kind of go over that in a little bit. Let me just go and start my PowerPoint presentation. I think you can see it. You know what? Maybe not. Let me go back and share again. And, I think the other thing too is pre-diabetic. A lot of us don't realize we are pre-diabetics and really don't realize that. Those documents that I'm going to go back to screen maybe. Okay. So I'll do my screen and I'm going to share. I'm going to go to my PowerPoint. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. All right. From the beginning. And this is very technical. So I'm just going to kind of run through this. And we're going to be looking at diabetes mellitus, and which is it's a result of a deficiency of insulin. And insulin is the hormone secreted by the pancreas that regulates the use of sugar, the body's use of sugar. There are 2 types. Type 1 or juvenile diabetes, and then there's type 2 or maturity onset of diabetes. And one of the other things I wanted to kind of go over is that, I was looking at some statistics, is that in the United States, according to single care reports, in the United States, if I look at the prevalence of diabetes at the state level, I thought it was interesting that West Virginia comes in as the highest percentage of adults who have ever been diagnosed as diabetics, 18.2% of that state. The CDC, which is the Centers of Disease and Control and Prevention, also indicates that American Indian and Alaska Native adults have the highest prevalence of diagnosis. So West Virginia came in first, Mississippi second, Louisiana third, Alabama fourth, and South Carolina also ranked high in terms of the percentage of adults who have ever had diabetes. From a racial ethnic perspective, according to the CDC, the American Indian, the Alaska Native adults have the highest prevalence, and then they're going to be followed by non-Hispanic Black adults, Hispanic adults, and the non-Hispanic white adults. And this is, again, according to the CDC. From a socioeconomic perspective, the prevalence varies significantly by education level, with a higher percentage of those with less than a high school education having been diagnosed with diabetes. Here's a look at our A1C, and here's some results. I know, one of the things to do, I do recommend people keep up with your numbers. And, if you have good health care, you can get your blood test. That is so important, knowing where you are, because it's good to know that you're here before you get here to the very poor level. This gives you a good opportunity to change these around. You can actually reverse, and I have done it with my husband. You can reverse your A1C within 90 days by lifestyle changes. And I'll go through some of those changes. From an A1C perspective, this range here is considered very good. And then room for improvement here, 7.6. I actually had my numbers. So from an A1C perspective, the normal is 5.7 and below. So normal is very good, 5.7 and below that. 5.7 to 6.4, then we're in pre-diabetes. Diabetes is 6.5 and higher. My husband's has been even at the 11 and 12, which is very, very, you're really putting a lot of pressure on your organs, on your body, on your organ systems when you get that high. But those are the normal level ranges for your A1C. And again, knowing what your A1C is very, I think it's very critical, because when you know that you're heading towards pre-diabetic, it gives you the opportunity to make changes. In critical cases, what I've found among the people that I have worked with is that, I hate to say this, is that, and specifically Black males, by the time they realize they are diabetic, they're almost in coma. They're in the 300s and above when it comes to their blood sugar, their glucose. My husband, and I knew it, I saw all the symptoms, but, it's just a male thing, I think. So what are some normal blood sugar levels in adults? We see here, as I indicated, now this is 0 to 2 hours after a meal. 300 plus, that is very dangerous. 2 to 4 hours after a meal, 4 to 8 hours after a meal. High is 140 to 220. That's high. And this is after a meal. The normal is where we want to stay, is between 90 and 140. Also, low sugar glucose is just as critical as the high. So normal fasting glucose levels are generally considered to be less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. Fasting blood sugar between 100 and 125 is considered prediabetes, while 126 or higher or on 2 separate tests is indicative of diabetes. Any questions?
No, I can't wait for you to tell me what the causes are. So I'm waiting.
Do you know anyone that have diabetes,
My mother
Denise?
has it. My brother has it. My whole
Yeah,
family has it. I'm the only I was diagnosed last year as pre-diabetic. So
yeah,
when I get my
yeah,
blood work this time, I'm curious to see what they're going to say.
yes. Did you let your doctor know that diabetes run in your family and all of that good stuff, or no?
You know, he never asked me that. Funny
Oh
enough, I'm
my.
glad you mentioned that. I don't remember
Okay.
him asking me that.
But
Hmm.
there is a gene, and they've done some studies on that gene. There, according to studies, there is a gene, and even if you have it, if you have the gene, you have been predisposed to the gene, you still, by lifestyle changes when it comes to type 2 diabetes, you can live a good life. You can live a life symptom free if you live a lifestyle. It is, and a lot of people will test for that gene so that knowing that they have been predisposed, and some people don't have to, just know that it's run through their family generations, they automatically will conform to a lifestyle. And diabetes type 2 is not a diet. It is a lifestyle that must be adhered to. And you're gonna see why as I get more into it. So diabetes is a disease that affects the body's ability to process sugar, glucose. Glucose is necessary. It's necessary for cellular function, and insulin facilitates entry of glucose into the cell. Type 1 diabetes is what that really means is that the pancreas makes little or no insulin. Type 2 diabetes, what many people develop as they age, and now we're seeing a lot of cases of juvenile diabetes. And again, this has to do with lifestyle that includes our diet. So type 2 diabetes, many people develop as they age, and the body either doesn't respond to insulin or doesn't make enough, or both. Some of the things I just want to know: complications from diabetes occur because glucose, which serves as the primary energy source for the body, is unable to be metabolized. As a result, the body resorts to using fat and protein for energy. However, fat cannot be fully metabolized without a substance that comes from glucose combustion. Thus, therefore, incomplete fat metabolism leads to the formation of ketone bodies. These ketone bodies build up in the body and are expelled as acetone in both the urine and your breath. The result is the distinct fruity and smell that is associated with a diabetic breath. And we're going to look at some of the so we're talking about the complications. And if you look into the picture to the right, these are going to be some of the complications. As we notice here, the diabetes in the body, it affects the brain, the mouth, the heart, the eyes, the kidneys, the pancreas, digestive system, blood vessels, the feet, and skin. So the effects of your diabetes on your body can be mitigated by early detection and proper management. That's what makes lifestyle management, can manage it before it gets, before it leads into renal dialysis, before your organs start, becoming compromised. And unfortunately, I think it appears to be very challenging for people to conform. And I think that I think that conforming to a diet can be accomplished once you make up your mind and decide to do something about it. But you're going to have to be very intentional about a lot of things in order to accomplish the results you need. So here I'm going to talk about, can you all see my screen? Think of my little, okay, there we are. How does diabetes affect the eyes? Diabetes can significantly impact eye health, primarily through its effect on blood vessels and the retina. This can lead to conditions like diabetic retinopathy, which is the leading cause of blindness in adults. Additionally, and I know we've seen a lot of the cataracts and glaucoma and macular edema. Some of the eyes. So um, high blood sugar or hyperglycemia. Well, that was mine. Let me go to my, okay, here I am. This is my diabetes. Let me get to I want to get specifically to the topic about the eyes. Okay, here I go. All right. So diabetic retinopathy is where high blood sugar levels damage the blood vessels in the retina, causes them to swell, leak, or even close off. And this can lead to vision loss or blindness. Macular edema. The swelling of the macula, the central part of the retina is responsible for, which is responsible for sharp, detailed vision, can result from diabetic retinopathy and causes blurred or distorted vision. Cataracts, diabetes increase the risk of developing cataracts, a clouding of the lens, which impair vision. Glaucoma is something we hear a lot about. Diabetes also increase the risk of glaucoma, a condition where damage to the optic nerve leads to vision loss. Other eye problems. Diabetes can also affect the eye muscles, causing double vision or other eye movement issues. Blurred vision, fluctuation in blood sugar can cause temporary blurring of vision due to the changes in the shape of the eye's lens. And so here are some ways to manage diabetes to protect your eye health. Individuals with diabetes should have comprehensive detailed eye exams at least once a year to monitor and treat any eye problems early. Early detection, again, early detection is important because early detection means that you have more, there's more likelihood that your eyes can be saved, and in some instances, prevented from getting more severe. Another controlling, this is why it's so important to manage our blood sugar. Maintaining good blood sugar control through diet, exercise, medication if you have to, can help prevent or slow the progression of diabetic eye disease. Early detection and treatment, prompt treatment of diabetic retinopathy and other eye problems can help prevent vision loss. I think that is so important. And I'm going to say, and this is my belief, preventative, holistic health or health is very good from a preventative perspective. Once you've been compromised, it's hard for your body to respond without the medication. Now, you can reverse the medication. When it comes to type 2 diabetes, it can always be reversed. But again, you must cooperate with your lifestyle and the lifestyle changes, as well as with your doctor. I have worked with many that have, as they make lifestyle changes that they need to make, and that means in diet, that means in exercise, that means in the sunshine, that means in de-stressing, as well as using complementary alternative methods like hydrotherapy, diffusing with essential oils, doing the things, and in some instances, massaging and rubbing those critical areas with essential oils. They can live, managing it. Diabetics can live a healthy lifestyle without the risk of some of these things, some of the problems of the critical areas. And I am of the opinion that once you get into a crisis state, it's hard to use natural health alone because your body is so on fire that it takes the medication just to get it to start normalizing again. But remember, with type 2 diabetes can be reversed, as well as many illnesses. Are there any questions? I can't see the chat.
That's good stuff.
Okay, all right. If you're pre-diabetic, you can reverse that. Start now to do the things that's necessary to reverse it. It can be reversed. Okay, diabetes of the mouth. Some of the things that we can see with this is diabetes can significantly impact oral health, increasing the risk of gum disease, tooth decay, dry mouth, and thrush. Uncontrolled blood sugar levels can lead to inflammation and infection in the gums, making it harder to manage diabetes. Diabetes also affects the saliva production, potentially leading to dry mouth and increased risk of cavities. Some of the things we can see with, from the mouth perspective, increased risk of gum disease. High blood sugar levels make it harder for the body to fight off infections, including gum disease. That's why once you allow diabetes to get to a critical state, and not just diabetes, mostly all acute illnesses, when you get to a state that your body has to fight off infections, if you haven't managed it, all you have it, you have a depressed immune system that cannot fight for itself. And so you have to use some of these drugs, unfortunately. But the goal is not to get to that state. And that's why I say early detection should result in management, should lead us to managing these states so that they don't get into crisis, what I call crisis mode. Because once you're in crisis mode, it's hard to bring your blood sugar down naturally without the medications. And at that particular time, you're in a state, and when I say crisis mode, it could be a life or death situation. How many people have gone into diabetic coma? But that can be prevented with early detection, especially if you know that these things run in your family. Early detection and management, better yet, living a lifestyle that these things are kept under control. Gum disease can worsen diabetes as inflammation from gum disease can affect the blood sugar control. So then you start having these dual effects. Now you have the infection, then the infection gets into your blood, then you become very high risk, very high risk. Symptoms of gum disease include red, swollen, and bleeding gums, as well as the receding gums and loose teeth. Another thing we may see with the mouth is called dry mouth. Diabetes can affect the salivary glands, leading to reduced saliva production and a dry mouth. And guess what? Digestion starts in the mouth with the saliva. So once your saliva is compromised and your production is reduced, guess what you're about to do? Now it's getting ready to hit your digestive system. And your saliva is so instrumental in that proper digestion of your food. Dry mouth can lead to the risk of tooth decay, cavities, and other oral infections. Symptoms of dry mouth include a sticky, dry sensation in the mouth, dry lips, and burning feeling. Thrush, which is oral candida or yeast infection. Thrush, high levels of sugar in saliva can create an environment for fungal infections like thrush to thrive. Thrush appears as the white patches on the mouth and can cause pain, soreness, and a change in taste. Some other oral problems: altered taste. High blood sugar can affect the taste buds, leading to altered taste, which would be something like a metallic taste in the mouth. Sometimes when people eat cilantro in their salads, they tell me it's like a metallic taste. And the very first thing I wonder, do they have diabetes? Are they are they a pre-diabetic? But that is something to be on the lookout for. Is the altered taste buds. Diabetes can slow down the healing process, which is another. Diabetes slows down your body's ability to heal. That's why so many severe diabetics, they get open wounds that can never heal, they can never close. And even like anything from minor cuts or sores in the mouth all of these things are prone to infection, and they slow down the healing process because of the diabetes. Burning mouth syndrome. Some people with diabetes experiencing a burning sensation in the mouth, which can be uncomfortable. So the importance of hygiene and dental care is, I cannot express that enough. People with diabetes need to prioritize good oral hygiene, including brushing twice a day with good, healthy toothpaste. You can find toothpaste that has components or constituents in it, and there are some that even have essential oils in it. Those constituents in those essential oils, like I think clove and cinnamon, they are very good for healing and keeping the mouth in a healthy state. Flossing daily, getting regular checkups. I know and I do believe you want to look for those toothpaste that have, I think there's one, I know it has charcoal in it. Another that has a combination of rosemary. I know there's one from Young Living that has a lot of the essential oils that have constituents in it to prevent or to promote healing in your gum and to fight against a lot of the some of these oral conditions. But again, you can't just use a toothpaste and think that that's going to solve the issue. No, lifestyle change must happen in order to reverse these conditions. It's crucial to inform your dentist about your diabetes, again, diagnosis, so he can tailor a health program, a dental program accordingly. But managing your blood sugar levels is essential. All of these other things, all of these things that you can do early doesn't matter if you're not keeping up, you're not knowing. And managing means that I know my numbers. I know where they are. I'm doing things to keep them within normal range from the lifestyle that I lead. So many things. It affects the heart. Diabetes significantly increases the risk of heart disease. I'm not going to go through all of these because I don't want to take up so much.
Through mouth though, because I was having issues with my gum and bleeding and a whole bunch of different stuff, and now I can correlate that with me being diabetic probably at the time. And what I had to do is I realized when I started changing the way I ate and I started no, I flossed before, but what I did is I decided to stop using fluoride and I bought a soap toothpaste, which was with essential oil. So they make these essential oil soap toothpastes, and I got that, and I bought a water pick. And I tell you, that water pick is the best thing since sliced bread. And with my lifestyle change, eating better, walking, exercising, not stressing as much, my gums, like the depth of how it was receding, it's actually stopped or improved. And it's funny because my mother and my brother who have diabetes, they both had gum problems and bleeding teeth and all that stuff. And I never correlated them both until just now. So thank you so much for that information.
Yeah, and I think that's why this information, a lot of people don't realize how diabetes affects the organs and the organ systems. They just look at it, and it's just from lack of education, not lack of awareness. And I do believe if more people knew the result of what diabetes is really doing to their body, I think that they would be more prone to make these changes. And again, even though these lifestyle changes may be difficult, and I'm going to say challenging for some, it's not impossible. But you have to be intentional about it. And there are changes that we'll have to make. Even sometimes you have to change your inner circle, coming up with I really encourage people about their support group. You want to be around people that support you in your lifestyle changes, not someone that's going to mock you, make fun of you, or even entice you to do other things. You have that group too. Why don't you reward yourself? Well, you can reward yourself without if people don't realize that. It doesn't require eating a pack of donuts or, going after those things that are not good for our health. We can be rewarded. We can reward ourselves by getting good, delicious foods, eating in moderation, and still getting foods that we can enjoy. Diabetes significantly increases the risk of heart disease, often doubling or tripling the likelihood of heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular problems. High blood sugar levels from diabetes can damage the blood vessels and nerves, leading to narrowed arteries, reduced blood flow, and increased risk of coronary artery disease, heart failure, and cardiomyopathy. The constriction, the reduced blood flow, all of these. And I think another thing is neuropathy. Neuropathy is just your nerves, where your blood sugar, uncontrolled blood sugar, is damaging your blood vessels and your nerves, and then neuropathy sets in. I just wanted to I think I had some lifestyle changes that could be. So one of the things, manage your blood sugar. Know what your numbers are, and start being intentional about how you're managing it. Keeping blood sugar levels within a healthy range is critical for preventing and managing heart disease in individuals with diabetes. Lifestyle changes like exercise, healthy diet, weight management can help reduce the risk of heart disease in people with diabetes. Now do not be deceived that there are a lot of, like my husband has never had a weight problem, but he is a diabetic. It runs in his family. So just because they're not overweight or obese does not mean that they're not candidates or don't even have, are not even in the critical stages of diabetes. He has other problems with, with how his body metabolizes things. And I believe when Danny was diagnosed, and it was, he had the symptoms, but he was just in denial. And by the time he went to the doctor, his blood sugar was somewhere between 500 and 600, and they were ready to put him in the hospital. So knowing some other things is that there are, and I work with people based upon, there are protocols that uses herbs, essential oils, rather than medication that can be used, and I also like to know what those herbs and oils are, especially for people that if you're someplace where you don't have medication or you can't even afford medication, knowing how to put the herbs together and creating things to help with your diabetes, with your, bringing your glucose down, to mitigate it can be awesome. There are ways to mitigate it without the medication, but again, you have to be intentional and consistent, which is another habit, with when it comes to natural wellness, natural health, natural remedies, consistency is the key. A lot of these have constituents in it that promote, they're chemical constituencies that are just as effective as a lot of the medications that are being used to treat some of these conditions. Diabetes affects the kidneys. Oh my goodness, do they affect the kidneys? Diabetes significantly affect the kidneys, potentially leading to diabetic nephropathy, which is a kidney disease, and ultimately kidney failure. They end up on the dialysis, and and you all know all of these things. High blood sugar levels damages delicate filtering units in the kidneys, and this can damage or lead to proteinuria, which is protein in the urine. Digestive system, boy, gastroparesis, which is delayed stomach emptying. That's diabetic enteropathy, affecting the small and large intestines, and increased risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. All of these, look at the blood vessels. Diabetes significantly affects blood vessels, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, as well as vascular problems. High blood sugars can damage the lining of the blood vessels, leading to the buildup of plaque and the narrowing of our arteries. This can lead to peripheral disease, PAD, diabetic retinopathy, and kidney damage. The skin. Diabetes can significantly impact skin health, leading to a variety of issues, including dry skin, infections, changes in skin texture and appearance. These effects are often linked to high blood sugar levels, impaired circulation, and nerve damage. Are there any questions? I don't mean to be so.
There's a lot of stuff, Sister Jackie. I'm waiting for you to talk about feet now. I'm like, come on, Sister Jackie. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
wow.
Gosh. Those feet. If we notice amputations, these are areas of amputations. Diabetes significantly impacts foot health due to nerve damage, neuropathy, and impaired circulation, increasing the risk of infections, ulcers, and amputations. Regular foot exams by a podiatrist and good self-care are crucial to prevention and treatment. Actually managing it, preventing it, or reversing it should be our number one priority when it comes to type 2 diabetes. Not even getting to this stage. And if I get to this stage, we want to reverse it. Lifestyle change, and now hopefully you can see the importance of exercise, the importance of sunshine, the importance of living, of getting the nutrients. One of the things I do want to say is that fiber and protein is a diabetic's friend. Fiber, high fiber, nutrient dense foods with protein and fiber. These are one of the things that the fiber is a carb, but the fiber is a carb that is not absorbed by the body. It cannot be absorbed, nor is it digested. So what happens is that it actually, because it is a carb, and because it is not absorbed within the bloodstream, in the bloodstream, what it does is that it's the soluble fiber. It helps to prevent spikes when you eat in your blood sugar. It manages, or it slows down the absorption of carbs during mealtime. And specifically, if we look at things like, when we're looking at carbs, we should, and the reason why we want to consume more complex carbs, white carbs like your white bread, your spaghetti, your any type of white noodles, they're nothing but 100% sugar. They're carbs. Once they hit your bloodstream, they directly turn into sugar. So
Stop it,
that's why
sister. I can stop it.
Don't cry. There's help. The macaronis and the white. Unfortunately, our white foods they're white because all of the nutrient has been removed from the grains from which they were created from, and we get nothing but sugar. Think about this: when God made the whole food, He had a purpose behind the whole food. All of it, is needed to keep our body healthy, to keep our body in a condition with an immune system to fight against disease and illness in our bodies. So eating the whole food is so important. And I do understand a lot of people like that stuff. It's good. It tastes good. It may be good to the mouth, but not so good to the body. The body can really take a big hit, from these things. There's so many things I don't want to go into because I know that this can be, there are ways to manage our feet health. Again, exercising, making sure we have good, keeping our feet in good, healthy shoes. If you're going to afford, and I say this, if we're going to spend our money, what we want to do is spend our money on things that are going to produce or help our bodies, especially while aging. Good pair of tennis shoes for good walking. That's going to give you good support, and other things that your feet and that your skin needs. Keeping your skin hydrated, and that you can do that by intake of water. That's an intake of water, your green veggies, your leafy green vegetables, all of these things. You think of how many of our vegetables, we have vegetables that's almost 90% water, which means that it's also turning into water in our bodies. And the water and the nutrients in our body is going to promote hydration. So we want good, healthy hydration that's occurring naturally from the foods that we're consuming. And then as things are being consumed that are natural for our bodies, the exercise is going to help distribute it throughout the body to the various organs and organ systems and the blood and the oxygen, to the heart and the pulmonary system the way it's needed. All of these things are essential. That's why the 8 laws of health are so critical to health. It is important to de-stress because stress can cause havoc on a diabetic. Because one of the things that stress it can cause your blood vessels to constrict because your body responds to emotions. Those emotions create certain types of effects in your organ system, and it also brings certain types of effects within the distribution of nutrients throughout your body. Any point of failure is a point that we need to focus on of the 8 laws of health that when I say point of failure, that means that my health can only go this far. I've reached a point of failure. That point of failure needs to be mitigated in order for our bodies to have the complete functioning cycle throughout our organs and our organ systems as they're working with one another and collaborating with one another. Our organ systems are interrelated. You have a problem with your kidneys. Well, guess what else? So that is the importance of managing diabetes. That's and it is something. Type 2 diabetes is something that can be reversed. I'm not going to go through the symptoms here. One other thing is gestational diabetes, and that's something that affects women when they're pregnant. Typically, if there's gestational diabetes, more times than not, then that individual would probably be diagnosed later on in life if they don't manage that lifestyle with diabetes. So just gestational diabetes, metabolic syndrome is something I want to talk about. And it can be confused with prediabetes. Metabolic syndrome is determined when at least three of the following five conditions are present in your body: abdominal obesity, elevated triglycerides, or low level of high density lipoprotein, cholesterol, elevated blood pressure, and fasting glucose value of 100 milligrams per deciliter or higher. Any three of these, that means that your body is experiencing metabolic syndrome. And guess what? Metabolic syndrome can be reversed with lifestyle. That's what makes this. These are things that can be changed just by lifestyle. These changes can be managed. The pancreatitis is very severe too. Inflammation of the pancreas, which may result again in reduced insulin production and respectively cause elevated levels of glucose in the blood. So some holistic protocols. Exercise is very important. Exercise helps reduce excess weight and promotes the utilization of glucose. Regular consistency is the word. Consistent exercise should be encouraged. I talked about some studies and not going to get into that, for the sake of time. Nutrition must be emphasized to balance good blood glucose. Slow metabolizing complex carbs are extremely beneficial in regulating blood sugar levels. Organic, whole, unrefined grains, legumes, bananas, potatoes with the peel intact, Jerusalem artichokes. The glycemic index is a measure of how quickly foods break down into simple sugars. High glycemic index foods break down quickly, and that's when you're talking about your white rice, your white noodles, your all of those things. Those are simple. They break down when they hit your bloodstream. They immediately break down into sugar. Talked about the foods. Oat bran is something else I want to talk about. It is high in soluble fiber, which is very good when you're eating, in your foods. That soluble fiber is very good. Studies have shown that consuming oat bran as part of the diet can significantly reduce the blood glucose levels after meals. There are some other things here. There are some supplements. One of the things we also want to increase is our potassium. Potassium deficiency is common in diabetes because of the high urine output. So we want to eat a diet that's high in natural potassium. And natural potassium can also help manage or help mitigate or normalize high blood pressure. Alpha lipoic acid, which is a coenzyme created by our bodies as an antioxidant, and is thought to regenerate other antioxidants in the body, including vitamin E, vitamin C, glutathione. Short-term supplementation of 600 to 1,200 milligrams per day seems to decrease insulin resistance. Chromium is something that has had some studies showing that they've shown improvement 40 to 80% for diabetics. Now, these are things that you don't want to stay on. These are some non-medications. These are natural herbs that can be used in order to normalize your blood sugar. Once it gets your blood sugar, the goal is not to stay on even these things. You don't want to stay on supplementation. You want to use these things in order to normalize your blood sugars. Then you want to manage it by lifestyle, where you're not taking these things. The solution to manage high blood pressure or blood sugar is not to be on even, I think, Ceylon cinnamon 2 or 3 times a day for the rest of your life. No, that's not the goal. The goal is to use it, to normalize it. And then you would eat it as no often than when you're using it in your cooking. Some people look at these things as, well, no, you don't want to be on these things for the rest of your life. One of the things I want to bring to your attention is stevia. What I would promote is the stevia leaf, LEAF. If you can get that, you want to use that more so than the stevia powder. And I think they do sell it in some of the Whole Food stores and maybe natural grocers, but you should be able to find the natural stevia leaf. There's some other things that can be bitter melon is very popular, cinnamon. And these are things that have gone through studies, and even studies have shown their effectiveness. Fenugreek, ginseng. Now, ginseng is going to be used for improving vigor and vitality. Because another thing the sugar can really cause is, it causes hormone imbalances. I can see when you get really, really agitated. Another thing, then it's almost like you crash and you become very lethargic. So a lot of these things are going to be the up and down of the blood sugar, going from low, low, then going back to high, high, and, just everything is off. The inulin, mulberry, prickly pear cactus. Now, I've never had prickly pear cactus, but studies have shown that these can reduce blood sugar glucose levels by 17 to 46%. Mulberry, and then here the leaf extract is recommended. Pancreas balancing herbs. Some of the pancreas balancing herbs that I'm just going to mention, and I know that alfalfa, blue, not black, blue cohosh, bladderwrack, chicory. Oh, one of my favorites. I know cinnamon, dandelion is one of my favorite. Onion, red raspberry, juniper berry. These, and I do have the protocol that I would share with anyone that's interested. Saw palmetto is another one. So all of these string bean pods. This is interesting. You actually use this to make a tea. And I think I have this. Here's a formula down here below. So the formula is where you see the golden seal and licorice blend. Burdock root is going to be 1 ounce. The dandelion officinal root, 1 ounce. Parsley, 1 ounce. Licorice is going to be a 1/2 ounce. The golden seal hydristis, a 1/2 ounce. Kelp is a 1/2 ounce. Red raspberry leaves, a 1/2 ounce. So use either extracts or tinctures. Combined bottle, you can make these yourself, or you can also, I think you can also make a tea. But I have the recipe for it, which is a protocol on how to use the dried herbs. And you can, and how to blend a boiling water to prepare as an infusion. And you can use that infusion up to 4 to 6 tablespoons in infusion 3 times daily. Here's a way to prepare capsules if you want to crush your leaves up and then administer them via capsule. String bean pod tea, I think, is very interesting, where you actually are going to 3 to 4 tablespoons of this. And here is the so other bean pods you can use are going to be the kidney bean and pinto bean. So you're going to prepare a decoction using the pod and water, simmer it for 1/2 to an hour in a covered saucepan, and then you're going to use these. You're going to drink 3 cups per day of this. Something like that is where I would use a stevia leaf. I've never consumed it, so I don't know how it tastes. But again, it may not, these are things you could add maybe a drop of essential oils to. Another thing that I think is very underutilized is aromatherapy. There's so many studies using cinnamon, lemon balm, rosemary, how they're useful for the management of diabetes, as they can help regulate blood glucose, lipids, and stimulate the function of the pancreatic islets. Aromatherapy is also good for helping my clients stress with chronic disorders such as diabetes. Let's cope with the stress that's associated with the disorders, actually, because it is very stressful. And here I have the solution if you're interested in it on the mixture, how to mix these together as well. And one of the things I really do like is that mixing them together and then putting them on a handkerchief and then holding that handkerchief to your nose and breathing in slowly for 5 minutes. But there are multiple ways. Another thing I have is like a roll-on that you can use. So there are many types of administration depending upon the choice of my client. There's a number of homeopathic remedies that are listed right here. And again, I would not advise any of these without discussing it with your doctor, especially if you're on medication, because even essential oils can have contraindications with medication that can result in severe things from your health. And that's why when you're doing things, either you want your doctor to reduce it or to monitor you while you're not taking it, if you just want to do the complementary alternative treatments. There are herbs for diabetes, and I have a list of them. There are all kinds of good herbs. And I brought this because it actually includes the results of the testing. It shows like bitter melon. It shows where testing has been done. And here, finally, these are my list of my of all of my references that was used to put all of this together. Okay. Are you
That was
still with it?
fantastic. It was really, really good. I'm almost wondering, is there a home kit if you're not diabetic that you can test at home your sugar glucose to see what it is?
There is. And what you can do is check with each area there's an ADA, Diabetic Association in your area that they will be able to give you a free kit. That's what I heard, that they will give you a free kit. That's how, I mean,
Oh,
yeah. So check with check with the ADA in your area. Where do you live, Denise?
I live I live in Florida.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good. That's a lot of really good information. And I can't stand bitter lemon, but when my mom was sick, and she even when she had cancer and during her diabetes, she would boil it and make tea with it, and that helped her tremendously.
Yeah. And again, even with the essential oils for the neuropathy, I've tried to get people to use them. The problem that I have, they won't be consistent. You must be consistent. Put it in a roll-on. Put it in your purse. Take it work with you.
I used to do
Even
that
when
when
I
I
go on
was
vacation, I take my roll-ons with me, right?
I love my roll-ons. I take them when I had my issue before my hip with the pain. The only thing that worked was actually herbs, roll-on herbs, and I took that international. I was like, they can arrest me. I'm taking these herbs with me because that pain. So
Yeah,
I totally believe in the power of herbs,
yeah,
and oils. I think it's
yeah.
so important. You
Right.
know, um,
Yeah.
so I'm totally on board with that. But I've learned a lot about diabetes. I think I almost wish now that I had my mother and my brother on. I really should have focused to see what your topic was this week because you know what? I'd have definitely had my mom and my brother on. They would really
We can
benefit.
do
I'm going to
it.
share this with them though.
We can do it again, Denise.
Yeah,
I can
I
do
would like
it.
my mother and my brother to be on. And I would have to check with them to see because my brother lives in London and my mother lives in the Caribbean. So,
Okay.
we have to find a cohesive time. But I
Yeah.
think this is a well worth presentation
Yeah.
for both of them to see.
Yeah. And I think this is, do you have a protocol for like neuropathy, arthritis, or any of those essential oils that you can talk about?
Well, I
I
can
don't
look 'em
use,
up.
I stopped using essential, I was using frankincense. That was the only thing that was helping me with pain. But
Uh-huh.
I would love to find out from you guys
There is a deep,
what can a pre-diabetic take oil wise to assist with their lifestyle change?
okay.
Well, I can look it up. I've got it right in front of me.
Are you trying to lose weight, Denise, or no? Do you need to lose weight?
Always need to lose weight, Sister
Okay.
Jackie.
All right. So one of the things that I'm going to talk about too while Jill is looking that up, some of the things that we can do is after meals is that eat in moderation. Learn to try to manage our portion sizes and what we're eating. Even when you're going on vacation, you go to a restaurant, they're putting the bread on the table. Do not go to the bread. You want to eat your salads. You want to eat your salads that have kale, that has carrots, that have all of the good stuff. And why? Because that's where you're going to get your fiber. The fiber is going to slow up. It's going to slow the absorption of that other junk food. And try to even avoid the white bread. Ask them if they have a whole grain bread. If you eat white bread, do not eat it first. Eat your salad. Get the fiber in you first, and then eat only a small slice if you just have to have it. And resist ordering the simple carbs like like spaghetti. Fill up on whole foods that have that are nutrient dense and are high in protein and that are high in fiber. For instance, 1 cup of quinoa is going to give you about 5 grams of fiber and about 8 grams of protein. That's good. That's great. Just imagine. There's so many things that you can do when you get your potato. If that, try to eat your potato with your skin on it, because that's where your fiber and your nutrients are going to be. If you eat potato, if at all possible, try to do the sweet potato. It has a lower GI index, but the one thing you don't want, besides a low GI index, you want to watch the load, because you can load too much of the foods as well. That's why it's important to manage what you eat. Do 1 cup of the beans, 1 cup of you want to manage those servings so that you don't, because overloading your body can be just as dangerous as well.
I
After
like
you
that.
eat, go on.
I was going to say, you mentioned and you helped me a few months ago, and at first started tasting like cardboard, but I've been doing steel oats, and I got to
Mhm.
tell you, they have grown on me. I cut up walnuts, I cut
Yeah.
up I put some blueberries, I cut up strawberries, I do a
Oh,
1/4 cup, and I got to tell you, that thing fills you up. And I've been
nice.
working out, and it gives me energy to work out. It has been
Yeah.
incredible. If a few
Yeah.
months ago someone would have said, I hated porridge, I've hated any oats all my life, if anybody would have told me I would be eating steel oats and
Ah.
being a proponent for it, I would have said you're lying. But you have really impacted my life with that. And I got to tell you, can tell the difference.
Good. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's so many lifestyle changes, and we don't have to try to do everything at once, but do things like after you eat, try to take a 15 to 20-minute walk after your meals. That's going to help tremendously. Walking after meals and keeping your stress levels down. When you're on vacation, always make sure you have your natural remedies with you, your oils and the other things. Spend more time walking, sightseeing, do more nature scenery. Because when you start going to the shops that's loaded down with the chocolate cake factory and all these other things, you're going to be tempted. And that's you're going to tempt those things. And let's say that you do go to a chocolate factory. Look for things like chocolate covered strawberries where they don't have so much sugar. Look for the whole fruits, the fresh fruits when you can, and let that fresh fruit become your dessert on vacation. Are you ready, Jill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it says a little more about other things too, but I'll go ahead and just read the little paragraph here, and then I'll name off some of the oils and what it says about it. It starts with chromium. Chromium has been shown to help the body's metabolize sugars properly. Wolfberry balances the pancreas, is a detoxifier and cleanser. Diabetes is not common in certain regions of China where wolfberry is consumed regularly. Stevia leaf extract is one of the most health restoring plants known. It is a natural sweetener with no calories and does not have the harmful side effects of processed sugar or sugar substitutes. Substituting stevia for sugar helps rebuild glucose tolerance and normalize blood sugar fluctuations. Yacon syrup contains inulin, the complex sugar that slowly breaks down into FOS. Inulin is not digestible, so it passes through the body with the result that it is half the calories of other sugars. FOS is well known for its pre-diabetic effects and also supports microflora in the large intestine while it promotes absorption of calcium. Okay, now the recommendations it has here is singles. This word I'm not sure exactly how to say it. Akatia, clove, which I think we talked about a little bit. Clove and clove vitality. Coriander vitality. Fennel vitality. Dill, and dill vitality, and then cinnamon bark. I think you touched on cinnamon. Cinnamon bark vitality, lemongrass, and then the blends would be Endoflex, Digize,
Okay.
Thieves, Slick, Tummy Jize, or of course well, they mentioned Digize.
Mhm.
I use that one quite a bit.
Yeah. And the
And
thieves is
then
good because it has so many of those, the rosemary, the cinnamon, the clove. Yeah, all of
lemon,
those. Yeah.
yeah, the lemon too. And
Yes.
I like lemon a lot too. I put that in my water.
Yeah.
Multigreens, now under the nutritionals, which is more supplements that have oils in them, it says multigrains, greens, I mean, yakan syrup, mega cow, balance complete, and only if you're involved in Young Living, you probably understand most of these here. But I'll just skip over like to Ningxia wolfberries, which we already talked about. And it does talk about a pure protein complete. So I suppose a good vegan protein. Application and usage. This is what you want to know. So the aromatic, it says to refer to page 410, which I could, if you want me to look that up, I can.
Yeah.
Um,
And just give some examples of the how it can be administered and the dosage for that administration, the
okay,
frequency and the dosage.
it says take capsules 50-50, Akatia and coriander vitality 2 times a day.
Did it say how many
So
drops? Twice a day?
let me see if it said that up here further. Whether putting oils in a capsule or drinking them. Oh, I probably have to go to page 410.
Okay.
But it says take 2 to 3 drops of
Okay.
oil in a
Mhm.
spoonful of syrup or a small amount of milk, it says, juice or water. And I suppose in the capsule, that's the same thing. You would
Yeah.
put 2 to 3 drops of the oils. And it's saying right here, like 2 capsules of Akatia and coriander.
Mhm.
So that would be one. And then it says topical for guidance. Well, again, 410. Why don't I just go to 410 really quick?
And so these ones can be applied topically as well, and inhaling them are just as effective. And I think, and I have taken the capsules. You can get veggie capsules. I put the oils in capsules. I did that for my husband when he from after surgery. That's when I used
Mm-hmm.
frankincense, and I'm telling you that was better for him than the medication that they were giving him for pain.
Yeah, for
Wow.
diffuser, the diffuser says diffuse your choice of oils for half an hour every 4 to 6 hours or as desired. Undiluted oils may be diffused in a cold air diffuser. Cold air diffusers are not designed to handle vegetable oils, right? You just have to use essential oils for that. Put 8 to 10 drops of oil on a cotton ball or tissue and put it in an air vent in your house, vehicle, hotel room, etc. Oh my, hold on one
So,
second.
so you can put that on. So you can put the on oil on the oil balls in your. I actually have a little bitty diffuser that I set right on my computer, and it's battery
Mhm.
operated. You can put one of those in your car, even.
Yeah, hold on one second. Somebody's at the door here.
But you're seeing, Denise, there's a lot of things that can be done with oils, and what's
Yeah.
best for you. Yeah, and not that you would select all of them. What you would do is get a profile. Get your profile. Understand where you are with your medications and what need to occur first. Because I know you're thinking, boy, there's a lot. How do I know where to start? Where to start? You
Yep.
don't. Yeah, that's why you need to work with someone to get your profile, and then you want to be guided through these therapies with someone that that has the training in them, and that and then and like again, I work with doctors. Well, I do because if a person's on medication, I want that doctor to know. I have to work closely with them because I don't want any contraindications from the protocol or from the treatment, the natural treatment with that medication. That's the
Mhm.
criticality of it. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Do you want me to go on about how to use them?
yeah, going to
Okay.
tell us how they can. Yeah, just a few more.
Okay, so we talked about the diffuser, aromatic. Also direct, like putting it right on your hands, like 2 to 3 drops, and then breathing it in. I think you touched on that too. holding it over your nose like this. You put it just a little bit. Just don't rub it in too much. Keep it so it's, you have it and can breathe it in really well. And that's just 2 to 3 drops in the palm of your hand. Rub the palms together, cup hands over your nose and mouth, and inhale throughout the day as needed. And when you do that with peppermint, I can tell you that's powerful. I just love putting peppermint in my hands like that and breathing it in. It'll really wake you up.
Yeah.
Applying a single drop under the nose is helpful and refreshing, which I think Jackie mentioned.
Yep.
Stay away from your eyes, however. It'll sting in your eyes, and you'll have to use oil to get it out rather than water. Steam, you can even use it for steaming and running hot steaming water into a sink or large bowl. Water should be at least 2 inches deep to retain heat for a few minutes. Add 3 to 6 drops of oil to the hot water. Then drape a towel over your head. And how many of you done that before? I used to do that when I was a kid.
Yep.
My
Like a
mom would
neti
say,
pot.
okay, get over
Yeah,
there
like a
on
neti pot.
the stove.
I've done that for cold.
Yeah, get the stuffiness out. Covering the hot water so that you enclose your face over the steam. Inhale vapors deeply through the nose. Add more hot water to continue vaporizing. Repeat 2 to 4 times during the day. And then dietary and oral. I'll tell you, I think the oils are great orally for your mouth and gums and everything.
Yeah.
We'll take that pain away too. Okay, vitality, dietary, essential oil singles and blends can be added to food for delicious concentrated flavor or used in capsules for their supporting properties. I think we talked about that too.
Yeah.
And it says to follow the directions on the labels. Generally, take 1 capsule with desired oil 2 times daily, and that's with 2 to 3 drops of oil in a spoon of, you can put it in yacon syrup or maple syrup or, whatever you want to put it in. Let's see. Put the desired amount of oils in a small glass of rice milk, almond milk, goat milk, carrot juice. Well, just about anything. I just add oils to my water. I drink it like that. I don't really need it to be in juice or anything.
I do a lot of it in my herbal teas. I do herbal teas. That is really good. Yeah.
That makes herbal teas. You can make herbal tea easily with oils.
Yeah.
And then dilute all oils, 20-80 it says. 80% water, of course, and well, I don't know if that's what it means, 20-80, 20% water, oils, before giving them to small children for oral. Oh, I see. It's the oils, you cut them down, you don't give them as much. Right. So if I take, 80%, then they're going to only have 20%. Yeah. Filling capsules, using a clean medicine dropper to fill the larger half of an empty 00, it says gelatin capsule, but I would say vegan capsule. Yeah. With oil. Then fill the remainder with V6 vegetable oil complex or a high quality cold pressed vegetable oil. And I know why they want you to add the vegetable oil is because it'll eat through that capsule if you don't. The oils are strong.
I like to use, or I think a cold pressed olive oil. I think cold pressed olive oil would be good too. Yeah.
And it's best to take it right after you make it. Yeah. Instead of letting it set and in these oils, like Young Living is very powerful.
Yeah.
If your hand is steady, you can simply hold the bottle and let the oil drip from the bottle into the capsule. Yeah. I sometimes do that in my mouth too, with peppermint or something like that. Take the capsules immediately. Just don't do it with oregano. Whatever you do, don't do it directly with oregano. Immediately, as it will become soft quickly, making it hard to pick up. Okay, dosages. There are 2 sizes of capsules. One, a 00 size capsule, holds 400 milligrams, and 2, a 0 size capsule, holds 200 milligrams. 200 milligrams. I guess it's speaking of the oil that it's adding to it, because I don't think our oils are measured by milligrams.
Yeah, you told me put it measured by dropper or how many drops you put in it.
How many
That's
drops?
not,
It said, well, I think it just says 2 to 3 is their average amount
yeah.
of drops. I don't think it says
Then
much
maybe you
more.
would fill it up. Once you put your drops in it, fill the rest of it up with the olive oil or whatever oil you
Right.
use.
Whatever oil you're going to take it with.
Yeah.
If the 00 is not available, then use the 0 size. You just have to be more careful when filling, and you may have to swallow more capsules. So it says topical, bath salts. You can make it into bath salts, body massage, compresses, raindrop technique, and retention. Those are a lot of them. It's also got a quick usage guide here too that looks really nice.
Do you have pictures of like the dropper or anything that you can show, or do you actually have an actual one so I can see what it looks like?
Yeah, let me go get
Um,
mine.
Oh yeah, the oils. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're talking about. The drop to put the dropper into the little.
Yeah, like how does it work?
Mhm, mhm.
Because the ones I got, which are probably that I had in the past, they had that little cap on it, and then you remove the cap. So these sound different. So that's why I wanted to see how do you apply it, because it seems like it's very concise, like it's a formula.
Well, I mean, I just take the oils and I just drop. Just got to be
Oh,
careful
you
there.
do? Okay.
Yeah, not to get too many drops because they will come out pretty quick. But once you get a little more used to it, you kind of pull back quick enough that you don't get more than you should.
Okay.
Like 2 to 3 drops of this peppermint if you wanted to take that in a capsule. I just personally, I put it, if I have 2 or 3 drops, I'll put it in water. If I have 1 drop, I'll just put it right in my mouth.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I mean, I drink a lot of water, so I mean, I have no problem putting stuff in water, oils in water. It doesn't bother
Yeah,
me.
I don't bother with the capsules, but some people they'd rather have capsules. So,
Yeah,
that's
I
why
don't think I'll have the patience for the capsules. Measuring it. So that's why I wanted to see how it works or how it,
yeah.
mm, how it works basically.
Well, some people shake it. I would not shake it. I would just hold it still and let it drop, drop,
Oh,
drop
okay.
in the water, of course, because I don't know, you probably would miss it if you're trying to put it in a capsule. That
Right,
wouldn't
that's what I
work.
was thinking. Yeah,
But
that's what I was thinking.
most of them, even oregano, I can drink in water, but I cannot take that straight because it's way too powerful. It's
Really?
very strong. Yeah,
And
some
what's
of
the
them are
benefit of
too
that?
strong. Oh my, oregano is kill infections and just it's antiviral, anti everything actually, anti.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah. So this is like a veggie capsule. I had to make in one of my classes. I had to make a solution. This is what it looked like. And I think you can get vegan, but this is like the size of it. See
yeah,
that? Can
you
you
got to
see it?
move it over this way more. There you
There you
go.
go. Can you see it?
Uh-huh. Pull
Ah,
it back
wow,
from the
that's
screen,
big.
though.
And you just take
Hmm.
it off. And
Is
here
that
is
0?
this
That
is
size 0?
yep, 00. Contains 250 00 capsules.
Oh, 0, 0.
Yeah. And here's a dropper. And I would just put my dropper and then just drop them in there because otherwise it's messy. So here's my dropper.
Mhm.
Wow.
Now, are you
I
just
have,
putting the oils in that, or are you putting is
yeah,
that
both.
just for the oil only?
Uh-huh.
Or the oil
Yep.
mixed with the oil?
Yes. I put both of the
Okay.
oils, yeah. Or you can go to put the other oil and drop the other, whichever. But this, I tried to do it without it. It was just too messy. Things were spilling
Uh-huh.
all over. I thought, oh, let me use the dropper. And it works
But show us
perfectly.
the dropper again. Show me the dropper. Oh, okay, with a little thing on the top. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I think is really, really good too that I have, and this is an inhaler. You can make your own blends and put them in here. And then you put the little thing in there and it rolls up. You can't take this off. It's like a little wick. And boy, and you take this with you in your purse and you make your own mixture with with your
Oh,
oil.
that's great.
I have everything.
I like that.
No, I
Wow.
have everything.
He's prepared.
Well, these I had to get there with some of my classes because some of these I had to do some studies with them. And I have a lot of them left, but they come in handy. I'm going to tell you, it's really. I have all kinds of even making your own rub. One of the things I was going to show you is that for pain, This is the best pain that I mean, it is the best. And I have used this and given this to people that have severe pain. And it is the Young Living Deep Relief. It is good. Here's Stress Away. This is really good for tension, putting on your temples. And these are things that you can carry in your purse. And I'm going to tell you, this is for pain, but there are times I will put it on and just, it opens up those, and it just does so much. It opens up those sinuses. And there are just so many different things that you can, and this comes in the kit as well as these other oils. But I love my roll-ons that I can take with me on vacation. It's just, and the thing is, if you don't have the roll-ons, you can make your own roll-ons, and you can also fill this with what you want and take it with you as well. So there are so many things that I didn't realize you could, they had all of these little gadgets for oils. It's, oh my goodness. I'm in the oil business.
Yeah, that's Young Living, yeah.
Yeah, with this also, I had to one of my experiments, I had to crush up some herbs and fill up the capsule. That was really, and the herbs were really, really good. I had with the milk now. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And I look at this. It's good knowing these things because you never know when you may have to use them, because there may come a day when these things are not available to us, right? And so the more we know, and that we know how to do, right. And we have to remember that even we don't know where it's going to come from. It could be, but we do know that one of these things, one of these days, all of these things can be shut off from our access. We can lose accessibility to. So knowing how to do these things, making your own oils, this in your capsules and your herbs and all of these other remedies, I think is just so important. It's like 3 more minutes before 8, and I don't want to keep you. Thank you, Denise. I lost so many other people. I guess they went to which is fine.
No, I like the personal touch. I think I'll stay right here. Thank you. And I'm going to let people know that, this personalized, interactive is just wonderful. So, I'm really enjoying it. Please don't change the day. And if you do, change it to a day that I can do. So please don't change the day. I'm really, really enjoying this. It has been super beneficial.
Okay. I want to start working with, I've been gone out of town. So that's the way, Jill, we can work together. Like if I'm presenting a disease or an illness or something, then you can have the protocol that includes the oils, how many drops, or various kinds of, and the various protocols, because there need to be various kinds that people can use for some of these, like I'm thinking about doing something on fibromyalgia, because that is something that is really rampant within our society, especially among women. So fibromyalgia, and that pain is just so awful. It is just, so maybe, or do you have anything that you would like us to focus on? This is May is Health and Wellness Month. Stress. Okay.
Oils for stress, and also oils for cleaning. I think oils for cleaning are, because I'm starting to make my own cleaning stuff. Baking soda, different things. And I think a lot of people are realizing with microplastics and different things that it's important to clean your home with the right type of things.
Yes,
so oils for cleaning, I think, are it's not just lemon anymore.
Right.
I mean, if you look at Miss Myers and you look at all these places, they're putting bergamot, they're putting spruce, they're putting all these different things. Why buy that when you have an oil kit that you can make your own?
Okay, yeah. One of the other things I like too is when you go on vacation or traveling, you can take your oils and make your little spray, because I have a little spray bottle. So that would be good, Jill, if you could do like a recipe for the spray, a recipe for a balm.
Can you do a kit thing too? Like you just showed like an inhaler, you showed capsules, you showed a dropper. Now you're talking about a spray. There's a roll-on.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that maybe if you just did one with like that featured all the different ways you can utilize oil and how to, because you just named like 6 different things.
Right.
I think Young Living has a kit already for cleaning that uses all the oils in the kit, but we'll research it.
Cleaning's
if we
very
know
big
the
for me.
oils, if we know the oils and make them ourselves, there's something about doing it yourself that you start mastering it. Then you start making it personalized to you. When you rely on someone else, you're still relying on someone else, and you don't become as And that's what I realized when I started working, when I had to do my own experiments. And that now I know how to do it. I don't have to rely upon anybody's kit. And I say that because we don't know. The more I know how to do it myself, and I have attained a level of comfort, and I can't attain that level without me doing it ourselves, I'm going to rely on someone else. But if
Yeah.
we do it ourselves, then we add our own little personality to it, how we like our blends and mixtures too.
Right, if
You
you
know,
want
I
it
think it,
stronger or weaker, or oh, I'll add some
yes,
lemon with some orange. Ooh, I'll
yeah,
add this with that. So,
yeah,
it becomes a lab kind of experiment like we did when we were kids, kind of like
oh
throw
yeah,
this with this with this. And I do like that. I like, when
right,
I'm cleaning, like even when I use vinegar to clean my
yours.
glass, I'll put
Mhm.
a little bit of lemon in there because the
Yeah,
lemon with it just brings this whole great smell with all the mirrors, and then you feel you sensationalize it, right? So it
yeah,
doesn't make cleaning such a chore anymore because you're still
right,
getting the smell of the herbs, and people
yeah,
walk into your home and they're like, "Ooh, it smells great in
yes,
here." And because
yeah,
I used to be a big plug-in and candle person, but I came to find out you can use oils
yeah,
and get a better effect, and it's healthier for me.
That's
right,
great.
So those are
Mhm.
things that I would love to see in the future, because
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
whole living. That's
yes, it
wholesome living,
is.
indoor and
Yes.
outdoor. And that's
Yes,
also preparing ourselves for the future and what the future may
yes,
bring.
yeah.
Yes.
One of the things I did, if they don't typically have sprays in bathrooms. My husband might have a bathroom spray. I love citrus oils. So take your bottle, or you can even fill your bottle. I have a little spray bottle that I mixed up my own citrus in it.
Mhm. Citrus fresh.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You can spray your bed, if you want.
Mhm.
Do one with
Yeah, I
lavender,
do
you
the
can spray
same
your,
thing.
yes. I
I
mean,
have
I
a
it's
love
one,
bottle
that.
with spray oils in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
It's
do
love
just,
that.
that. That's what I want.
yeah. Yeah.
That to me,
Okay.
that's so important. I mean, there's so
Mhm.
many uses for it that
Okay.
Yeah.
we don't realize. And again, healthy home, great smelling home. I'm
Yeah.
really big on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Really big on that. Also,
Mhm.
I went to a fair a couple of weeks ago, and they were using borax, some cleaning agent, and then they used oils, lavender and
Mhm.
grapefruit oil, and that's how they made the detergent. Now I bought the detergent because I wanted to smell it, I wanted to experience, look at the back and feel it and sense it. But I mean, if I had a grapefruit oil and I had a lavender oil, I could make my own detergent to wash
Yeah.
my own clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot cheaper. Yeah.
But it's healthier too. It's better for,
Way,
there's so
way
many things
better.
that stick on the skin. I mean, perfume is like the worst thing you can ever buy, which I just
Right.
found out. And again, oils can take the place of that.
You
You
can.
can. I made a perfume, one of my experiments, and I accidentally did this. It was an accident. And I ended up making a perfume. It was so because it smelled so good. And I told my professor, I said, I didn't want to go any further. I said, I had this and it was smelled so good on me. So I just had one. I didn't put the other oil with it. And she tried and said, "You were right. That is a good perfume."
Wow. Wow.
So that's what I'm saying.
Perfume
You
by
start.
Jacqueline. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
All right,
See
so next week
that,
we'll focus on the oils with health and wellness from a health and wellness perspective. Mental
please.
health, we'll look at Jill if you could do a protocol for the mental for for how to use it. So how to
Stress.
use it by using and have a couple of ways of administering. Show where you can use the inhaler, the palm, or yeah, any of those
And
things.
then just like for household everyday ambiance and and use, because
Yeah. Oils.
to de-stress,
Yeah.
to
Yes,
start the day with a peppermint maybe, and to end the day with a lavender and what it does, and during the course of the
Mhm.
day if I need to pick me up instead of coffee, inhaling the
yeah,
peppermint, or something like that, that would just be so
Exactly what
helpful.
I do.
yeah.
All
Okay.
I already do
right,
that.
ladies, thank you, have a great
Okay.
night.
Have a good
All
night.
right, bye now.
Okay.
All righty. Bye bye. Thank you so much, Jill. We will see you next time. And if you have any questions, let me know. I think that was mine. I think that I froze up. Okay, let me do a save full screen.